one of the ceremonies that I performed for one of my clients was actually a divorce ceremony. And so in our culture, marriage is often, for a woman to get married, it's such an exciting time, and she spends so much time preparing and planning that wedding. And it's a big day where she envisions herself as that beautiful bride who's taking that journey into a new life. But as far as divorce, I think what happens in society is there's so much consideration of the mechanical side of divorce. For example, signing the papers, the legal aspect and the financial aspect are taken care of. But when we participate in divorce, how are the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects taken care of? And so I actually performed a divorce ceremony for a client. She and her partner were not physically married, but she felt she needed that support to make that transition from being a couple and being in a relationship to now being a single person who's open to new experiences and who's stepping away from, stepchildren who were not physically hers, but that she had become emotionally bonded with. And so just making that emotional and spiritual support for that transition that she was making. So she invited a half a dozen of her friends who came to have that experience with her and really make that transition from being in a committed couple relationship to now being a fully independent woman who's ready to step forward and allow her life to unfold. And so it was a very beautiful experience to see how that can be so positive and how releasing those people energetically can be so empowering to all that are involved. Because although those recipients may not even be consciously aware that that ceremony had taken place, it creates the cutting of the ties energetically, and it gives them the freedom to step forward in their life. But also for that woman who was the participant, was the guest of honor in that ceremony, it was a really beautiful experience to take that journey with her where she was able to step forward in a new way. And I'm happy to say that she's now in a new relationship and is very happy and is really feeling fulfilled, because this relationship is very different than the one that she was struggling in and was struggling to let go of. So I'm happy to say that having taken that journey and releasing and letting go allowed her to step into a new and very different relationship that was much more fulfilling. And it didn't happen immediately. It was that process allowed for her to make that get stronger and to invite in a better partner for herself. Sorry, did somebody have a comment?
Yes. How did you do it? How did you do the ceremony?
Well, we created that space where we invited her friends in, and we actually, what we created was an honoring for her. And so we actually created that journey where we set the gateway to signify that this is her that she was releasing, the male partner and the child, and also the vow to honor herself and to move forward in a new way. So we actually set up some vows that she and I worked on together that she was comfortable with, and this allowed her, so throughout the journey that she took, then towards the end was the vows that she made. And then, and
There
we did
was an
actually, in
honor.
that case, she chose to have a fire at the start of the journey, where she had some things that she was releasing from the relationship. So she had a couple of things that she wanted to burn in the fire. And so she did that releasing first. And then we started to take the journey where she was building herself up, and then where she cut the ties and made those vows, and then um, completed it by stepping into a new way of life with those blessings and those gifts. So you see how we took the journey to allow her to come out the other side, making that transition and integrating it back into her life.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so that's how ceremony, I just can't say enough how very powerful energetically it can be for us. Because, even just as the example of divorce, many times we see people who hang on to bitter memories, and it actually, um, many of them close off their heart and shut themselves down because they're so afraid to be hurt again. And so this ceremony, um, can allow them to take that journey where they allow themselves to open up to new experiences and open up to love again.